Good evening and welcome to the Ghana TV9 News Bulletin for Monday, January 5, 2026. I'm Colwyn Abrams. In the headlines tonight, High Court crushes Mohammed's bid to stall U.S. extradition. Hearing set to ignite Tuesday. $800 million Paramakatoy airstrip opens. President demands lower flight costs for indigenous residents. Guyana stands with Venezuelan people. Border security remains a priority, says President Ali. Minister Parag urges resilience and commitment as 2026 school year resumes. PSC chairman calls for balanced labor policy, greater upskilling, and faster digitization. And Maduro pleads not guilty in first court appearance since capture as Venezuela's vice president sworn in as interim president. Now for the news in depth. Acting Chief Justice Navendra Singh on Monday, January 5, 2026, dismantled a high-stakes legal gambit by businessmen Nazar and Azruddin Mohammed to halt their extradition, ruling that the public interest in upholding international obligations outweighs their claims of irreparable harm. The decision effectively removes the final barrier for Principal Magistrate Judy Latchman to begin receiving evidence tomorrow in an explosive case involving an alleged US $50 million gold smuggling and money laundering syndicate. While the Mohammeds remain free on bail for now, they face an uphill battle as the Chief Justice deferred their broader constitutional challenges to mid January, leaving them vulnerable to immediate committal proceedings. Adonadoric was at the Georgetown Magistrates Court on Monday and filed this report.
The ruling allows the committal proceedings to move ahead as scheduled, even as parallel constitutional challenges remain pending. Outside the courtroom, Attorney General Anel Nandlal said the decision was consistent with settled legal policy and long-standing judicial authority across Guyana, the Caribbean, North America, and the wider Commonwealth.
And the courts have universally and uniformly have rejected any type of intervention that seeks to stay, stop, or delay the committal hearing from taking place. The reason why is because post the committal hearing, there is an elaborate regime of challenges that the law provides for any party who is aggrieved by the committal hearing's ruling, either side.
Nandlal explained that the Extradition Act provides an quote-unquote elaborate regime of challenges after a committal order is made, including automatic stays while those remedies are pursued. He maintained that pre-committal constitutional applications amount to an abuse of process, since the same arguments can be raised again after the magistrate rules, along with any issue arising directly from the committal hearing.
The prior challenges are an abuse of process because what will Mr. Ford come with after the committal order is made is the identical arguments that are being raised here, coupled with one or two in relation to the committal hearing itself, but substantially they are going to be the same. And the policy of the law, the intent of the law could have never been to have two series of challenges, one before and one post the committal hearing, that are highly similar in their jurisprudential impact and effect.
The Attorney General described the matter as substantive rather than interlocutory. These include a further application by the Mohammeds alleging that the government is biased against them because of political rivalry and should therefore be barred from pursuing extradition. The court will reconvene on January 14. Counsel for the Mohammed Senior Counsel Roysdale Ford had argued that the constitutional challenges need to not await the conclusion of committal proceedings. He contended that the amendments made to the Extradition Act in 2009 vest excessive power in the Minister of Home Affairs, undermine judicial independence, and improperly restrict the ability of extraditees to challenge illegality, thereby infringing fundamental rights. The defense is also challenging the authority to proceed issued by Home Affairs Minister Onish Walren, claiming it is legally null and tainted by both presumed and apparent bias. They are seeking to quash the authority and to bar any further involvement by Ministers Walren and Nandlal in the process. Magistrate Judy Latchman has already set January 6 and 7, 2026 for the commencement of evidence in the extradition proceedings. In dismissing an earlier defense request for a referral, she said the court would not quote-unquote resurrect what has been put to rest, noting that the issues raised were governed by the doctrine of stare decisis. The Mohammeds, owners of Mohammed's Enterprise, remain on $150,000 bail each, have surrendered their passports, and must report weekly to the Rumveld police station. They were arrested on October 31 following a request from the United States. U.S. prosecutors have charged the father and son in the United States District Court for the Southern District of Florida with 11 counts, including wire fraud, mail fraud, money laundering, conspiracy, and customs violations linked to an alleged $50 million gold export and tax evasion scheme. In June 2024, the Office of Foreign Assets Control sanctioned both men for alleged gold smuggling and public corruption. Azardin Mohammed is also the leader of We Invest in Nationhood WIN, which finished runner-up in the 2025 general and regional elections. Adana Dorek, TV9 News.
President Dr. Mohammed Irfan Ali on Monday officially opened the upgraded Parmakatoy airstrip in Region 8's Pacaraima Mountains, a nearly $800 million project aimed at reducing high travel costs for residents. The 2,500-foot long, 50-foot wide concrete runway and 100 by 100-foot tarmac were constructed by International Import and Supplies. The airstrip serves as the community's primary transportation link, improving connectivity, emergency response, and creating opportunities for agriculture and tourism. With Sandy has the details.
Parmakatoy residents have long grappled the hefty flight costs, which operators blamed on the poor state of the old airstrip. With the upgrade complete, President Ali urged local flight services to transfer cost savings directly to the people.
That is the cost we are going to invest in to ensure, just like we give you under the scholarship program, the opportunity to get a degree here, the opportunity for a teacher to be trained here, for a nurse to be trained. We want every economic and social opportunity to be given to you, and we're going to make that investment. We do not invest in infrastructure because it is easy. We invest because it is necessary. We invest because every community, no matter how remote, deserves access to the lifeblood of connectivity and commerce. We invest because no community should be left behind in our national journey. And so, this People's Progressive Party civic government is committed to ensuring that all communities, particularly isolated hinterland communities like Parmakatoy, are brought into the mainstream of our national economy.
President Ali stressed that the upgraded airstrip should directly benefit the people by reducing the high flight costs to Parmakatoy. He said the government will monitor operators and expects one or more services to announce fare reductions soon. The president also highlighted that the airstrip will improve emergency response times and support new agricultural and tourism ventures in the region.
These investments will make it easier. And I am going to look forward to see how the local sector is going to respond to this investment. Because they always say that part of the cost is the state of the airstrip that affect their maintenance. Well, today you have a brand new airstrip. Let us see what you will now see. And we're giving them enough time to adjust their costs. Because we will not just sit by. We will not just sit by and not allow the benefit of these cost savings to be transferred to the people. Because we want, and you will know, we will know by tomorrow which one of the services will announce a reduction in the cost coming to Parmakatoy. Let's see.
The opening of the new upgraded airstrip marks a new chapter for Parmakatoy, promising more affordable travel, improved emergency access, and opportunities for economic development in the indigenous community. Faith Sandy, Ghana TV9 News.
President Dr. Mohamed Irfan Ali on Monday said Ghana stands in solidarity with the people of Venezuela as developments in the neighboring country continues to unfold, while assuring citizens that the government is closely monitoring the western border. Acknowledging public concern, President Ali said the situation in Venezuela remains fluid and uncertain, requiring calm vigilance and respect for the rule of law. He stressed that Ghana does not support lawlessness, criminal behavior, or violence, noting that such actions undermine from families, communities, and regional stability. The president said Ghana continues to engage international partners and remains committed to peace, international law, and the protection of its sovereignty. He assured citizens that the government is alert and prepared and urged Guyanese to remain calm, informed, and united as events continue to evolve. The chairman of the Private Sector Commission, PSC, has emphasized that migrant labor should complement, not replace, Guyanese workers as the country grapples with a growing labor shortage driven by rapid economic expansion. The PSC chairman said the priority remains Guyanese first, noting that over the past 5 years, the focus was on bringing as many Guyanese as possible into the oil and gas sector and other emerging industries. Chairman of the Private Sector Commission, Captain Gerald Gabaya Jr., explained that the emphasis is now shifting toward quality empowerment with greater efforts to move Guyanese workers into higher paying, more technical and senior positions. He acknowledged that Ghana's limited population presents a structural challenge despite strong employment growth across the private sector. With more than 1 million Guyanese living overseas, the PSC is encouraging greater engagement with the diaspora, including remote work arrangements, part-time contributions, and the incentives for skilled Guyanese to return home. According to the PSC chairman, attracting overseas talent requires reform of migrant labor policies, particularly the high costs associated with hiring non-nationals. He pointed out that migrant workers are subject to a 20% withholding tax, making them significantly more expensive than local employees. He argued that this undermines efforts to reduce the cost of doing business and called for a review of tax and administrative burdens related to migrant labor.
What I would say is that we need to look at the costs of withholding tax and all the additional costs that go with migrant labor coming to Guyana to promote, because we have to acknowledge the fact that we have a labor shortage. If we don't, then we're just running on a treadmill.
In closing skills gaps, the PSC chairman highlighted wide access to free education and training in Guyana, including tertiary studies, online programs, technical and vocational training, and ICT-related courses. He said many members of the diaspora remain unaware that Guyanese can pursue advanced degrees, trades, and technological training at no cost. He also outlined private sector-led initiatives aimed at upskilling and entrepreneurship, including the GMSA Business Incubator, business support desks, and free training workshops offered by organizations such as the GCCI, GMSA, and other private sector bodies. In addition, the PSC has proposed tax credits to encourage businesses to invest more heavily in training and workplace development.
It also goes into, there's tons of free training that's being offered, whether that's the CLBD, the private sector, the GCCI, GMSA. We do workshops all the time for free, where you can come in and get trained. So there's lots of incentives there. We've also asked, as part of our budget submission, to offer tax credits for upskilling investment. Right? Because we understand that we have to upskill Guyanese. It's expensive to do so. So if we want to keep the cost of doing business in Guyana affordable, not having some sort of tax benefit will make it more feasible to do so. All right.
Addressing employee retention, the PSC chairman said improving take-home pay is important, but non-fiscal incentives will play a growing role in improving quality of life for workers. He praised the launch of the Gender Equality Seal by the Ministry of Human Services, describing it as a transformative initiative that promotes gender equality and empowerment in the workplace. He noted that workplace culture is evolving, with greater recognition on shared caregiving responsibilities. family-friendly policies, and the need for on-site childcare facilities. PSC is also advocating for greater inclusion of differently abled persons in the workforce while acknowledging that businesses must invest in infrastructure such as wheelchair access and other accessibility measures.
I saw the president did a release that he wanted to see 1,000 more differently able people employed. So, for example, I can tell you that we want to do it. We're making the moves to make our workplace more accessible, but that takes investment. For example, just wheelchair access. Things that we saw during elections that people wanted to vote, couldn't get to the voting area because of wheelchair access. The same thing in businesses. So now we have to invest to make sure that we have the wheelchair accessibility, and that is just one small part of how we are creating non-fiscal benefits and incentives for employee retention.
On innovation and digital transformation, the PSC chairman reaffirmed the strong private sector support for the government's National Digitization Program. He said digitizing government services would significantly reduce bureaucracy, lower costs, and improve efficiency for businesses. He pointed to recent reforms in the banking sector, including the use of artificial intelligence to speed up account setup and credit processing, as an example of how technology can unlock private sector growth. The PSC chairman said the private sector remains committed to working with the government on labor reforms, skills development, inclusivity, and digital transformation to ensure sustainable growth and improved opportunities for Guyanese workers. Colin Abrams, Ghana TV9 News. More news after the break. Stay with us.
Want to place your death announcements and in memoriam messages on Channel 9? Call 592-761-5006, 710-5008, 600-5006. Or visit our office at Lot 85A Lamaha Street, Albertown, Georgetown, Century 21 Building.
GCOM is currently conducting a claims and objections exercise to produce an official list of electors, OLE. Anyone who became 18 years or older on December 31, 2025 and is a Guyanese citizen by birth, descent, or naturalization, or a citizen from a Commonwealth country living in Guyana for 1 year or more, you are eligible for inclusion in the OLE. GCOM has posted the preliminary list of electors, PLE, in all of the registration divisions across Guyana for you to check if you are listed, and if so, whether your particulars are accurate. If you have changed your address since you were registered, you need to visit the GCOM registration office responsible for your new area of residence to apply for a transfer. Sunday, January 18, 2026 is the last day you can apply for a transfer during this exercise. For more information, contact GCOM on 225-0278-9 or visit www.gcom.org.gy.
Welcome back. You're watching the Ghana TV9 News Bulletin. Faith Sandy tells us now that graduates from the Patient Care Assistant PCA program in Essequibo Region 2 celebrated their successful completion of the first ever training in the region. This marks a significant step in expanding healthcare support and community services. The program was designed to equip participants with practical and theoretical skills, while family support, dedicated lecturers, and hands-on training helped ensure their success.
The PCA program is a government-led initiative aimed at strengthening primary health care delivery in underserved areas. As the first batch in Region 2, 107 graduates underwent vigorous training that combined classroom lessons with practical exposure at local health centers. The program challenged students but provided them with critical skills to serve their communities effectively. Graduates expressed pride in being pioneers and acknowledged the support from their families, educators, and the government.
I'm one of the graduates from the Patient Care Assistant Program, the first program in Essequibo Region 2. The program was a bit challenging, yes, but with the support of family members, our lecturers, and all our colleagues, yes, we did it.
I must say thanks to God, thanks to my family who would have been there supporting me 24/7, to my lecturers who would have, been at class every day. I want to say a special thank you. Without you guys, I would not have accomplished what I have accomplished today. To my colleagues, I just want to say congratulations. Thanks to the government for doing this initiative because being the first in Essequibo, the first batch in Essequibo, I am privileged.
My name is Zoria Harris, and I am one of the students that has been graduating from the PCA program today. I'm very honored that we have gotten the opportunity to be the first set of students to be graduating in region number 2. This course has been very fun, challenging at times, but we all made it. We all completed. We all passed with 100%. And I'm so proud of my colleagues as well. I want to say congratulations to all of them.
Now that I've completed this program, I feel ecstatic. I'm very happy, pleased with myself. Hopefully now we'll all go into our different communities and we'll start serving the members. And hopefully we'll all be compassionate and give good guidance to those who need it now. My name is Shabika Ben. I'm so excited today that I finally completed my CHW training. It was challenging at first, but as we start to interact more in classroom with each other and teachers continue to sharing more experience, what they face and so on, to become who they are today, we have also grown and we have improved a lot. And we are thankful for that. The teaching was good. It was A1. The practicals were good. We had exposure to certain things in the health centers. And overall, our classroom teaching was phenomenal. I want to thank all our lecturers. They did an awesome job, especially Sir Myrie. He was there with us from the beginning and to the end. I want to thank him for that. And I must say congratulations to myself and all my fellow colleagues. And I think we did a wonderful job and I am proud of us. This was an awesome opportunity for me because I've always dreamed of becoming a CHW. This is where I wanted to start. And I want to thank God for giving me this starting point. And from here, I would not stop. I would keep climbing. I will elevate myself once there's training program available. I will keep elevating myself for betterment of myself and also my family because I know my family is proud of me because I am proud of myself.
Faith Sandy, Ghana TV9 News.
The Guyanese government has moved to fortify national security and calm public anxiety following the unprecedented arrest of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro by the United States authorities. As regional tensions escalate, Prime Minister Brigadier Retired Mark Phillips issued a direct address to residents in border regions, affirming that Ghana's defense forces are prepared and that the nation remains secure despite the volatile political shift in Caracas. The government of Ghana, led by President Dr. Mohamed Irfan Ali, had taken an initially measured position, monitoring the situation closely before releasing a statement on social media affirming that Ghana, quote, continues to monitor the developments in Venezuela, end of quote, and supporting efforts that uphold democratic norms and regional security. The statement highlighted the importance of stability and respect for the rule of law as the region enters an uncertain chapter. Speaking on Radio Mabaruma, Prime Minister Brigadier Retired Mark Phillips said the joint security forces, including the Ghana Defense Force and the Ghana Police Force, are on a high alert and deployed across border regions, hinterland areas, and the coastline to respond to any potential spillover effects. He emphasized that the government is actively monitoring developments and liaising with regional and international partners to safeguard national stability.
Monitoring the situation in Venezuela, we're focusing on ensure that stability in Guyana is maintained, and we don't have any unusual activities or activity inimical to our state of security.
The Partnership for National Unity, APNU, issued a statement saying that Ghana must prepare for, quote, any eventuality, end of quote, amid the arrest, and has urged the government to activate contingency plans in light of what it describes as a precarious security
The
environment.
APNU wishes to state unequivocally that this is a moment where there must be inclusive decision making with the involvement of all stakeholders in pursuance of national unity in the face of a potential emergency. There is need for an approach that transcends partisan politics.
The WIN leader and Member of Parliament Azruddin Mohammed stressed that the recent events have, quote, fundamentally altered the geopolitical and security environment, end of quote. As the situation continues to unfold in Venezuela and across the wider Caribbean region, voices in Ghana are calling for vigilance, unity, and inclusive governance to navigate what may be a prolonged period of geopolitical uncertainty. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro was captured in the wee hours of Saturday by U.S. forces following a long-standing U.S. federal indictment accusing him of serious criminal activity. U.S. prosecutors allege Maduro led a narco-terrorism and cocaine trafficking conspiracy, working with drug cartels and armed groups to ship large quantities of cocaine into the United States and using government power to protect and promote illegal activity. He faces multiple charges including narco-terrorism, cocaine importation conspiracy, and weapons offenses, and was flown to the U.S. to face these allegations in federal court. Calvin Abrams, Ghana TV9 News. Marking the start of a new academic term on January 5, 2026, the Minister of Education, Sonia Parag, has called on the school community to approach the year with renewed vigor. She urged students, teachers, and parents to remain steadfast in their goals, challenging them to stay focused, give their best effort, and finish the term strong.
Minister Parag reminded sixth graders preparing for the National Grade 6 Assessment NGSA and Form 5 students writing CSEC exams that they are entering the most demanding stretch of their academic journey. Mock examinations are imminent, followed quickly by final exams, leaving little room for distraction.
For those who are in 6th grade and those who are in 11th grade, which is Standard 4 and Form 5, and will be writing the National Grade 6 Assessment and CSEC exam. This is an important term for you all. As you know, you'll be writing for the NGSA students, you'll be writing your second mock exams, and then you'll be heading into the finals, which is the NGSA exams itself. Then the CSEC student, you'll be writing your second mock exams for the mathematics, and you'll be heading into your final exams for CSEC. So these two terms will be, or a term and a half, will be extremely important for you all. Focus is necessary. Drive and motivation is necessary.
She encouraged students to commit fully, to show discipline and determination, and to push through this crucial term and a half with purpose. From nursery children stepping into school routines for the first time, to primary students in grade 1 to grade 5. Consistency, curiosity, and effort remain the foundation of success, the minister reminded.
From grades 1 to 5, you're also heading back to school after having a lot of fun over the holidays. But I want to say to you that education is the key to success. And therefore, I encourage you to show up every day at school, put in the work as your teachers are teaching you in class. You have 2 more terms to make it through whichever grade you're in, and then you'll move on to the next grade.
Minister Parag also called on teachers to lead with passion and purpose as they shape the minds of the nation's children. Their role extends far beyond the classroom, influencing the future of the country itself, she noted. The minister further emphasized that parents play an important role in their children's development and commended them for their efforts. The minister acknowledged the daily sacrifices made by parents to ensure their children receive a quality education and have the opportunity to achieve even more than they themselves may have had.
But you know what, parents, you play such an important role in your children's development. And so I applaud you for this. And so when you head to school on Monday morning with your child, you're not alone. You're like every other parent who are heading out there. But you're making that sacrifice to ensure that your child gets a great education and that your child will be able to do much better than perhaps you did.
Adana Derek, and TV9 News.
More news after the break. Stay with us.
Anyone who you believe should not be on the list. If you are desirous of making a claim or objection, you must visit the GCOM registration office responsible for your area of residence to do so. Visit the GCOM registration office responsible for your area of residence to conduct any of the above transactions. All GCOM registration offices will open Mondays to Fridays from 8 to 18 hours, Saturdays and Sundays from 10 to 14 hours. For more information, contact the GCOM on 225-0278-9 or visit www.gcom.org.gy. GCOM is currently conducting a claims and objections exercise to produce an official list of electors, OLE. Anyone who became 18 years or older on December 31, 2025 and is a Guyanese citizen by birth, descent or naturalization, or a citizen from a Commonwealth country living in Guyana for 1 year or more, you are eligible for inclusion in the OLE. GCOM has posted the preliminary list of electors, PLE, in all of the registration divisions across Guyana for you to check if you are listed, and if so, whether your particulars are accurate. If you have changed your address since you were registered, you need to visit the GCOM registration office responsible for your new area of residence to apply for a transfer. Sunday, January 18, 2026 is the last day you can apply for a transfer during this exercise. For more information, contact the GCOM on 225-0278-9 or visit www.gcom.org.gy.
Welcome back. You're watching the Ghana TV9 News Bulletin. Ghana has formally concluded its 2-year tenure as an elected member of the United Nations Security Council, marking a significant milestone in the country's diplomatic history. President Dr. Mohamed Irfan Ali reflected on the term as both challenging and transformative, taking place during a period of deep global instability. Ghana's membership ran from January 1, 2024 to December 31, 2025. And was guided by the theme, Partnering for Peace and Prosperity. Here's more.
Ghana served on the UN Security Council during a time marked by a major international crisis, including the war in Ukraine, the conflict in Gaza, violence in Sudan, the spread of terrorism and violent extremism across the Sahel, intense repression of women's rights in Afghanistan under the Taliban, and the protracted conflict in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. The Security Council also faced severe humanitarian and political crises in Haiti, Syria, Yemen, and Myanmar, alongside renewed regional tensions in 2025 between India and Pakistan and between Cambodia and Thailand. In addition to conflict situations, the Security Council addressed complex global challenges such as worsening food insecurity in conflict-affected regions, the financing of African Union-led peace operations, artificial intelligence, and safety and security of humanitarian and United Nations personnel, peacekeeping reform, and the future of multilateralism. These discussions often took place amid deep geopolitical divisions among the permanent members of the Council, which frequently hindered consensus.
Ghana had
the distinction of presiding over the Security Council in February 2024 and again in June 2025. Under Guyana's presidency, two signature events focus on: one, the impact of climate change and food insecurity on the maintenance of international peace and security, and secondly, poverty, underdevelopment, and conflict, implications for international peace and security. Guyana also played a notable role in advancing the women, peace, and security agenda, the climate peace and security agenda, the youth peace and security agenda, and the children and armed conflict file. It worked closely with Switzerland and Slovenia to draw attention to conflict-induced food insecurity as an informal co-focal point on conflict and hunger.
Throughout its tenure, Guyana adopted an active and collaborative approach, working closely with elected members and regional partners to advance inclusive principles and pragmatic responses to international peace and security challenges. Through the A3 Plus mechanism, Guyana collaborated with African members of the Council and co-authored resolutions, presidential statements, and press statements on situations including Sudan, Libya, Haiti, and the Guyana-Venezuela controversy. The head of state noted that Guyana played a significant role in advancing the women, peace and security, youth, peace and security, climate, peace and security, and children and armed conflict agendas. A major achievement that was co-authored alongside Sierra Leone of a landmark resolution of youth, peace and security. The resolution, unanimously adopted on December 12, 2025, calls for strengthened youth participation and leadership in peace processes, conflict prevention, peace building, recovery, and reconstruction at all levels.
Guyana chaired the Security Council Sanctions Committee on Haiti and served as vice chair of the committees concerning Afghanistan and the Central African Republic. We also actively contributed to the work of other subsidiary bodies. Guyana helped to organize and lead high-level briefings, debates, and export engagements, including a Security Council mission to Colombia in February 2024 and an informal export field mission to Chad in December 2025. Guyana also convened the annual open debate on children and armed conflict. Guyana was honored to serve as coordinator for the E10 group, October 2024 and October 2025, the A3 Plus group, January to March 2025, and the non-aligned movement caucus in the Security Council.
During Guyana's 2-year service, the Security Council adopted 90 resolutions, 15 presidential statements, 77 press statements, and 21 notes by the President, all of which were subject to negotiation. Over this period, Guyana was widely regarded as a principled and constructive actor committed to multilateralism and the United Nations Charter and the international rule of law. President Ali attributed the success of Guyana's tenure to the dedicated work of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, the permanent mission of Guyana to the United Nations, and the support of its international partners. He noted that the country's service on the Security Council enhanced Guyana's standing on the global stage and reaffirmed its commitment to the shared pursuit of peace, security, and prosperity within the international community. Colin Abrams, Guyana TV9 News.
President Dr. Mohammed Irfan Ali has highlighted the government's plans to modernize the education sector, expand technology adoption, and create opportunities for youth. Speaking during a live session with school children and female journalists, he emphasized that these initiatives aim to ensure equitable access, drive sustainable growth, and prepare the next generation for leadership in a rapidly changing digital and economic landscape. Here's more from Faith Sandy.
President Ali detailed significant investments aimed at closing the education gap in the hinterland. Nearly 100% of students now have access to both primary and secondary education, representing a significant leap from the limited opportunities available 5 years ago. The government has introduced world-class science labs, practical instruction centers, and technical schools, ensuring that students receive hands-on and high-quality education comparable to that found in urban centers. These efforts are complemented by an expanded school feeding program to support student nutrition and enhance learning outcomes.
We're now investing to have universal secondary education in the hinterland. So we started from the hinterland having absolutely limited access to primary education, no access to secondary education, to almost 100% access to primary now, almost 100% access to secondary. But in the secondary, they had limited scope because they did not have science labs. Today, we're investing in world-class labs in the secondary schools. We're investing in practical instruction centers in the hinterland. We're investing in technical centers in the hinterland. We're also addressing the nutritional aspect that aid education development. So we have the school feeding program in the hinterland kitchens. We have expanded scholarship now to the hinterland. Today we have more students from the hinterland on our Gold Scholarship program.
Scholarships have been increased, allowing more hinterland students to pursue top-tier programs in nursing, police services, and patient care, reflecting a growing representation from remote regions. Teacher development is also a priority, with all educators either trained or undergoing professional development programs, alongside improved accommodations, allowances, and salary scaling. Infrastructure investments, including roads and transportation networks, further facilitate access to schools and essential services, creating a comprehensive approach to national development in Guyana's hinterland.
The highest recruitment in the police academy came from Region 1. So, in every area of national development and skills development, the most numbers are coming out of the hinterland. Why? Because for the first time, hinterland students have the opportunity to write CXC and to have the basic requirements to enter these programs. And we're seeing record numbers entering these programs. So the results are already there. We're investing in roads, hinterland roads. We're investing in hinterland transportation. We're giving more students scholarship to come out to the top tier schools in the country. So our investment is multifaceted.
President Ali remarks underscore the government's commitment to building a digitally savvy, well-educated, and empowered youth population, ensuring that hinterland communities are fully integrated into Guyana's broader vision for sustainable development and economic growth. Faith Sandy, Guyana TV9 News.
In regional news, Prime Minister Kamla Prasad-Besesar says Caribbean politicians implicated in the alleged Maduro drug trafficking network will eventually be exposed. Speaking at a UNC News conference in Chaguanas, she emphasized that Trinidad and Tobago remains unaffected by Maduro's capture by U.S. forces, assuring citizens that the government continues to maintain national safety and security. Prasad-Besesar also addressed questions about Venezuelan resources, including dragon gas, noting that any decisions rest solely with the Venezuelan government. On the indictment, she said it names unnamed Caribbean politicians who were allegedly corrupted by drug traffickers, and she expects many, quote, respectable figures across the region will face scrutiny as the investigation unfolds. CARICOM and Trinidad and Tobago have both called for calm and restraint following the United States military action in Venezuela. CARICOM reaffirms its commitment to international law, sovereignty, and multilateralism, urging peaceful dialogue through diplomatic channels while monitoring potential security and economic impacts on the region. Trinidad and Tobago has distanced itself from the U.S. action, stressing stability, due process, and a cautious foreign policy approach, while confirming the safety of its nationals and diplomatic staff and maintaining that its bilateral and energy positions remain unchanged. Venezuela's vice president and oil minister was formally sworn in on Monday as interim president following the capture of President Nicolas Maduro in a U.S. operation over the weekend. Quote, I swear by Commander Hugo Chavez, Delcy Rodriguez said before Venezuela's National Assembly in the capital, Caracas, lamenting the seizure of Maduro and his wife, Celia Flores. Quote, I come with pain for the kidnapping of two heroes that we have as hostages in the United States of America, end of quote, she said, referring to the president and first lady. Maduro and Flores were captured in an early morning operation on Saturday by U.S. forces, subsequently flown out of the country to New York, where they stood trial in an initial hearing over drug and weapons charges. After Maduro's capture, Venezuela's Supreme Court directed Vice President Rodriguez to immediately assume the post of acting president. U.S. President Donald Trump has vowed to assert American control over the country for the time being, including by deploying U.S. troops if necessary. An internationally deposed Venezuelan leader, Nicolas Maduro, on Monday pleaded not guilty to federal drug trafficking charges in a U.S. court, declaring himself innocent and a decent man. Quote, I'm innocent, I'm not guilty, I'm a decent man and the president of my country, end of quote. Maduro told the judge during a brief hearing. The appearance marked Maduro's first time before an American court on the narco-terrorism charges cited by the Trump administration as justification for his capture and transfer to New York. Dressed in a blue jail uniform, Maduro was escorted into court shortly after noon alongside his wife for the mandatory procedural hearing, which is expected to precede a prolonged legal battle over whether he can be tried in the United States. His next court appearance has been scheduled for March 17. And that has brought us to the end of tonight's newscast. Remember to check out our Facebook and YouTube platforms at GOI TV9 for more trending stories. I'm Colin Abrams.